How to start a podcast video series, Unintentional Asmr, how to start a podcast video series, episode 12. Today, my costume is a referee because I got a comment. One of my favorite viewers who always writes encouraging comments. She's the best. Funk Fox, you can check her out on SoundCloud. She said be careful about having too many rules on your fingers, which I talked about in the last podcast. Video series, Unintentional Asmr. Check it out right there. And I think that's an interesting idea. How many rules are too many rules? Too many rules is not a good rule. And as a rule, I agree with that. ASMR this week stands for always some mother beeping rule. I know that I grew up with a lot of rules. Couldn't date before you were 16, which was actually fine. Rule number 2, can't wear makeup till you're 16. Also fine, didn't bother me. Rule number 3, no TV on weeknights. Those were the basic rules. Don't get arrested. That was kind of what you would call an unspoken rule. I think that's a fair rule. And then as I got older, rules kind of helped me make sense of things. Like I want to do something, what are the rules? But rules are meant to be broken. We hear that rule all the time. We're encouraged to follow rules. That's just social control. But really, we like people who don't follow the rules. And from now on, that's me. I'm not going to follow any more rules. I'm going to say, as a rule of thumb, no more rules. Rule of thumb, you may not know, that became a term because in carpentry, when they didn't have a ruler, they would just measure with their thumb. So that's about 1 inch to this part, and that's 2 inches. And then that whole thing's like 4 inches. So there you go. If I didn't have a ruler, I could kind of measure. Let's measure this right now. Let's see how close I get. Let's see, 4 plus 2, 6 inches. I'm going to say this is 6 inches. 6 inches. That's pretty good, rule of thumb right there. Worked pretty well. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, you look so nice. Let me brush your hair. Oh. Anyway, I was intrigued by this idea of rules, concept of rules. And so I looked it up on the internet. This is what I did. I typed in rules on Google. The first thing that came up, Rules by Doja Cat. Now she, you probably know, I did not, big rap star. I'm not familiar with her because in the NFL where I work, I'm a line coach. I'm one of the new ones, first kind of season that we've been out there, and I haven't heard Doja Cat because, you know, at the NFL we like to promote family content, and I can tell you looking at these lyrics, not really family. I'm going to read them to you. Said play with my blank, but don't play with my emotions. It's emotions. If you spend some money, then maybe I might just blank you. When I shake that blank, I'm going to do this blank in slow motion. You got a whole lot of cash, and blank, you know I want it. So clearly the rules have changed. When we talked about rules, we weren't talking about that. I heard this week. I like it. I'm going to share it. I saw it on TikTok. I'm on TikTok, if you don't know. I'm also on Instagram, and I have a Patreon. Yes, I do. Lisa Padache, which, as we've said, is here. Russell Brand. The question was, what's the best advice you ever got? And his answer was, what if it can turn out better than you imagine? That's not really advice. I think that's a question. That's a hypothetical question. The advice would probably be, imagine that things can turn out better than you expected. Imagine is a rule that you can imagine how well this is going to turn out. And the worst advice you ever got, be realistic. I like that a lot. I think that we are often taught to make ourselves small, to be realistic. And where does that come from? I think I figured it out. I think that when we're young, we're given a lot of rules. And when you break the rules, what do? You go stand in the corner. And look how small we've made them. This is their space, a corner like this. We are telling them, you got to stay small because you're making too much noise, all right? And it's disrupting the class. Be seen, not heard. Nobody wants to hear from you. That's not really why you're here. You're here, I would say, to be seen and be heard. So if you were put in the corner, even just emotionally when you were a kid, I'm telling you, get out of the corner. Make yourself as big as you can. Take up as much space as you can, and don't be realistic. Don't bother. All right, what else do I have? All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence. And then success is sure. Mark Twain. I think that's going to be my mantra for the new week. Ignorance and confidence. No more rules. The new rule, no rules. A lot of ignorance and buckets of confidence. That's how you make some progress. We learned how to measure things with just our thumb. Very useful. We learned that rules meant to be broken. And ignorance and confidence can go a long way. That's pretty good. All right. Movie pitch. Because I'm in my NFL sexy referee costume, because that's the only kind of costume that you can buy for women these days. Got to be the sexy version. You can't just be a referee. You have to be a sexy referee. You can't be a cat. You have to be a sexy cat. You can't be a cook. You have to be a sexy cook. I can't even fill this thing out, to tell you the truth. This is how I look in it, but you're supposed to look like this, like... See, those are like if those were my breasts, that's what you're supposed to look like. Movie pitch. I am the new sexy linesman for the NFL, and I'm being sexually harassed. At the same time, I've been offered a large sum of money to throw a game. Now, what do? I would put a camera in my sexy referee costume. I would probably hide it here in my cleavage. No one would notice the camera. They're just seeing cleavage. And I would record the harassment, and I would also record the request to throw the game for a bribe. So I would get both incidents on my boob cam. Now what do I do with it? During one of the games, replace it with a commercial that's supposed to be broadcast, national commercial. But instead, the tape from my boob cam goes across TVs all over America. And everybody sees, one, that I was being harassed, and two, that they wanted to throw the game. And that's how I get justice. And in the end, do I get fired? Yes. And I get a job as a sports commentator on TV. But they're like, look, if you want the sports commentator job, you're probably going to need a boob job. And I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it. That's North Country. That was the Charlize Theron movie where she's getting harassed at the plant. Meets The Natural, because there was a bribe in that. Meets Anchorman. Couple shots for the thumbnail. That's a touchdown. This is a touchdown. You're a touchdown. Don't forget to like and follow and subscribe. Thanks for watching.